Hello everyone, and today we're going to take a look at the original Xbox, the actual original Xbox itself. So I bought this here, this crystal Xbox. It is the rare clear plastic Xbox. I've got it. Have I got it upside down, or is that the way around it goes? Does it really matter? That's probably the better way that it goes, because that's the front of it right there. So yeah, we bought this Xbox. We're going to have a look at it. We're not going to open it up. Just have a look at some of the things to look out for when you're buying an original. If you want to buy an original Xbox in 2021, the lighting isn't great. I don't know if moving that out of the way will bring more light in so you can see the front of it a little better. But there you go. There it is with its 4 controller ports, its power and its eject button. Not much going on in the front I/O. In the rear I/O, there's again even less going on. You've got your power in there. You've got your AV out in there, and you've got on that side. That side is the LAN port there for Systems Link and for Xbox Live. No Wi-Fi on the original Xbox. You've also got the fan here on this side right here, the exhaust fan. For the CPU. This particular model that we bought. Now, if you're going to buy an original Xbox, there is one major thing that you've got to look out for, and that is the revision of the Xbox that you bought. So the first thing to do if you're going to buy it is to check the manufacturer date. And the manufacturer date is printed on the bottom. It's printed on this sticker right here. I'll bring that up for you so you can see here. This one was 2004. It was either manufactured on the 9th of July or the 7th of September, but I can't really. I don't remember whether it's month, year, or well, it's year first, and then I don't know whether it's date or month. But either way, it was manufactured after May 2004, and that's crucially important if you're going to buy one of these original Xboxes, because revision 1.6 came out after May 2004. So there is an issue with the Xbox. It's called the clock capacitor, it's called. And that leaks. Basically, it does what it says. It keeps the time on your Xbox. So if you unplug your Xbox and then start it up after a while, you'll notice how you have to reset the time. Most companies at this time used a battery, a watch battery. Your PCs, they all use watch batteries. It was a CR2032 or something like that battery, or 2016. I can't remember exactly the battery, but they use batteries to keep the time, because when it's off, it just keeps the time going when the power's off. Microsoft decided to use a capacitor instead, and the clock capacitor, it is not a known failure point. What happens is there's a gel inside the capacitor. It does hold a charge. It works similarly to a battery, but it's a shorter period of time. Maybe after about an hour or two, that battery will have gone, or the charge will have gone from the capacitor, and you'll have to reset the clock. Now, this did prove issues. It's filled with a gel, and that gel is corrosive, obviously. So if it gets onto the motherboard, it was a failure point where it would leak the gel out of that, and it is an acidic gel, or I can't remember exactly what material it is, but it will leak. If it leaks onto the motherboard, that's it. It's kaput. It causes irreparable damage to the motherboard. These are a ticking time bomb, and I did it. I have an original Xbox from 2003. I had an Xbox. It is the black Xbox, which I've kept original. This one is soft modded. I did soft mod this one. Did Rocky Five's soft mod on this because I want to play around with it. I will take it apart. I did buy this. I bought this off eBay. It cost about £50. I don't know if you can see it here, but I think the previous owner took it to the beach. This is inside it. You can see the gunk that's inside underneath the plastic. I don't know. To me, it looks like sand. I think the previous owner did take it to the beach. There is a lot of... I think they had a pet as well. You can see in there. Look at that. That is... We're going to take this apart and clean it, but we want to take it... If you have a model that isn't revision 1.6, this one doesn't need it. Doesn't need the clock capacitor. I would go in and remove the clock capacitor. I'm not going to show you how to do that. I've already done it with mine, my other Xbox, but I would always go in and take out the clock capacitor, because it is a ticking time bomb. It will leak over time. Again, the Xbox is 20 years old. This is the Xbox's 20th anniversary. But what can we do with a modded Xbox? If you're getting a PAL version, I would recommend soft modding it. I would recommend it. This is a PAL version, as you can see. It will say on the manufacturer date. No, it won't. But this is a PAL version. Doesn't say anywhere. But it is a European Xbox. Doesn't say on the revision number or the serial number or anything like that. It doesn't say anywhere. I would recommend, yeah, get one that's revision 1.6. It just means you don't have to do the surgery on it. It's not too difficult. You can desolder it if you want, or you can use a pair of wire cutters and just cut it off. Because the clock capacitor isn't essential to the Xbox's function. It will again, every time you boot up the Xbox, the downside to it is you will have to set the clock. That's the only downside. You can replace it with a modern capacitor, but I would, you don't have to do that. You're going to need soldering skills, and if you can't do soldering, then I'm not very good at soldering, so I didn't do it. But yeah, you can replace it with a modern one if you want that won't leak. But I would recommend doing that or getting the 1.6 revision, such as this original Xbox. The other thing to look out for when buying one is the disc tray. Sometimes when you press the button, there's the disc tray. That's the disc there where it says Xbox. Sometimes the disc tray will stick if it has trouble opening. That's usually there's a little rubber belt thing. That's usually got dirty and it needs cleaned. So I would give that a little check. Just press the button when you power it on and the disc tray. This one opens really nicely, actually. It's nice and smooth. But if it's having trouble pulling the disc tray out, that is another thing to look out for. The other thing is, again, the hard drives are old. So again, just check. It's difficult to do a test on a hard drive for an original Xbox. But again, this one is a later model, so it will have a younger hard drive in there. You can replace the hard drive, but you do need to soft mod the Xbox, and you have to go and remove the drive, because each drive is sort of coded for the original Xbox. The hard drive sits about here on the opposite side of the disc if you open it up. Opening up's fairly easy. It is only 6 screws to get the top plastic off. You do need a Torx T20 screwdriver to remove the top plastic. Basically, the 4 screws are here, 4 of them here and here under the rubber feet, and there's 2, one under this sticker. I can feel it. See if we can feel for where is it? Can't find it. There it is. There, found it. You can just feel it. You can just poke a screwdriver through it, and there's one under the again with the manufacturing date on it there as well. To remove. So 6 screws, and then there's a Torx T10 you need to remove the motherboard screws. I think there's Torx T15 for the hard drive caddy as well. But other than that, upgrading the hard drive is something that we could do. Quite an annoying process to do these days because it does use an IDE hard drive, and they are difficult to find. You're probably going to be replacing it with another second-hand hard drive. That is the downside to these things, is of course you have to obsolete technology nowadays. You can get a SATA to IDE converter if you want to put in, but it's only very specific model numbers that the Xbox works with, so that is a difficult thing to do. I'm going to take this apart. I am going to clean it. I'm not going to do it on the video though, and again we'll show you some of the soft mod stuff. We've got other videos coming up just with the soft mod stuff. We used it did have a soft mod in it when I bought it. It only cost £50. This did £47 it cost me in the UK, and that's not bad for the Crystal model that was pre-soft mod. It didn't come with any cables or controller though, for some reason, but I already have an Xbox, so I've got the cables and the controllers. The other thing that you're gonna need is an HDMI adapter for the original, if you want to plug it into a modern TV, because you can see this, it goes to there it is. Looking in the opposite direction from what I'm doing on the camera there. But yeah, this port here, you can get one that will just convert this to HDMI. You can also get an HDMI port that you can wire up internally that just replaces this with an HDMI. I bought a Kaiko Xbox to HDMI adapter. It works just fine. Again, with the PAL version, soft modding it so that it will support HD output, because the original Xbox in the US, the NTSC Xboxes, they supported 720p and 1080i output, whereas the European Xbox only supported, it was 576i or something like that at 50 hertz. It does support 60 hertz out. You get 480 at 60 or 576 at 50 hertz. In the PAL version, but no 720p or 1080i output. The chip is there, the actual chip is there, it's just disabled in the software for the European version. So soft modding it lets you re-enable the 720p and 1080i outputs, because some games on the original Xbox did render in HD. They did render at 1080i or 720p. So that's an interesting fact. We might have a look at that and see if we can get it running in HD. But it runs okay. Yeah, I would say get a HDMI converter for plugging it into a modern TV. They are fairly cheap. Again, you can get the mod that you can do. You can actually mod the console, but again, you need soldering experience. So buying a cable is the cheap and easy solution. It's not that it costs much more. It just takes a bit longer because you've got to solder the board, the little board that it comes with, onto the motherboard. I don't know if you have to cut, with the Dreamcast you had to cut out a little section for the HDMI. I think you can just replace this AV out if you want, and just replace it with HDMI. But again, that's a lot of work. It's easier just to buy a cable. And again, you get similar results as well. Emulators as well, this can run pretty good. It's pretty good emulation machine. Not as good as its, it's much younger brother, should we say, the Series X. It's not as good as that, but it's certainly a decent, for the time, console. Again, we'll take a look at that in another video. But anyway, that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon, and goodbye.